Hello. What up? This
Hi.
this is the Feared Broathing podcast again, and today we're talking about Uncharted. That's really hard. Like that's not even like I'm trying to make fun of it, but it just sounds like I'm saying Uncharted. But
Yeah.
it comes across really well over text.
It sounds like you're just pronouncing the CH of Uncharted like as an SH.
Yeah, Uncharted.
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 It's like you shart and then you like somehow just right back up.
I'm making fun of it, but only because the name is funny. I actually did enjoy the movie. I thought that Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg were really great together. I thought that their chemistry was really good. Now we'll get more in detail about what we don't like, but I've never really played the Uncharted games, so I'm kind of basing this as like a standalone film rather than a video game adaptation. So
I played
a movie adaptation of a video game rather.
I played like the first mission of the first one, a little bit of the second and third, and then I beat the fourth one.
Okay.
And as a standalone movie, it's a good movie, but the adaptation's not the greatest.
Like I do feel that it is a solid action movie.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a huge action fan myself. I again rather watch horror or something like dramatic and gripping or like uh, honestly I watched this with MK before we watched this. It was like months ago. We just put it on one day. We're like, fuck it. We like Tom Holland. So we put it on. I think we kind of we enjoyed it, but we didn't really watch it. Like we were just like kind of in the background while we were like playing a board game or something. Like, but thanks to the podcast, I had to actually pay attention. So, um, great standalone action movie. I thought it was fun. I thought that the visuals were cool. I thought they played up the like. It almost looked like the action scenes were quick time events.
You know, in the beginning, that's what I was thinking. I was like, "Oh God, how's he gonna do these quick time events?" He's like,
Yeah, and then the same scene plays again later on in the movie because it was almost like one of those. Oh boy, yep, that's me. Yeah, it's like, yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. Yeah, and then the movie officially kicks off with Sam and Nathan as children, and they're trying to steal some stuff from this museum, specifically a map, because they want to be treasure hunters, I guess. And then there's what was the gold they were trying to get? Whose gold was it?
um,
Mancado, Macar,
Moncada.
Macarena. Uh,
Moncada is the name of the guy. Who is the person that they're trying to? Oh, it's amassed by Magellan.
okay, okay, yeah. Um, so he's they get caught in the museum and they run away, and there's this arc about bubblegum. It's like a very weird subplot that they threw in where there's like bubblegum because like Sam's like, yeah, this is my last piece of bubblegum, you take it, or you split that with me, and then he's like, no. He's just like, he's like, you're a little bitch. You a little bitch. And then I thought that was pretty funny. He was just like, what a fucking dickhead. and then you find out like years later when Nate is a
Nathan Drake.
bartender. he's a bartender in New York, and he's doing all this fancy shit like he's Tom Cruise in what is that movie called? Isn't that movie just called like Bartender or something?
Was he in? I'm not.
I can't remember the name of that movie. I just know he was a bartender in a movie and he was like doing all this flippy trick shit.
Was it also like a fucking heist movie where you had to steal something from a well-known bar or something?
Fucking probably.
Sounds like a fucking Tom Cruise movie.
As long as he's running.
Oh, he's always gonna be running. Cocktail.
Cocktail. That's it.
God, that is an atrocious looking movie.
I think
terrible.
I think I watched. I was about to say I think I watched my dad watch that movie. But like
watching him.
It's like he's like, why aren't you watching the movie? I would rather
you watch the movie.
I would rather watch you watch this movie. Actually, I would like to.
How you taking it?
I would like to study your reactions.
I'm actually watching it through the lenses on your glasses.
My dad does wear glasses. That's pretty spot on.
I didn't know that.
Oh my god.
The plot thickens.
Oh my god. Like his glasses.
My glasses are pretty thin. No, god damn it.
They do look pretty thin.
They are. They're
oh, the paper.
Pretty much. You're real.
Impressive. They help me see.
They help me see. It's whatever.
Anyway, Tom Holland, he's doing bar shit. He sees this girl. This girl's like, "What's going on?" Like she's all aloof, but he's also like kind of hitting on her a little bit. He's like giving her a history lesson. At this point, I'm pissed because I'm like, I didn't fucking want a history lesson. And this whole movie is like a history lesson, and I don't even know if any of it's accurate. I'm just like, all right, shut up and just do the thing.
Have you ever played the game? That's what the games are like too. I'll just randomly be like, just out of nowhere, I'll be like, yeah, it's like Magellan in fucking like 1863 whenever you did that something. But actually, it was so and so and so. Like, got me there.
It'd be fucked up if they were like, if it was like a history quiz in the game as well, where it would just like stop you and be like, now, if you were paying attention, who did this? And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, and then you can't progress the game until you get it right, but you can't go back.
Yeah.
That it is a puzzle game, so I wouldn't put it past them at all.
Yeah. It's a puzzle game with like QTs, right?
Yeah, it's got some QTEs. I think the later one didn't really have too much because around that time, games started to take that out of their games.
Yeah, for good reason. It stops the progress, or it stops like the fun. Really, it's like
they do it to keep you engaged in the story, but I don't need help staying engaged in a story if the story's good.
Right. And that's why I'd rather watch a movie based on something with casting that apparently other people have thought that like the casting wasn't great, even though, I mean, Tom Holland's hot right now. Like, I mean, he's hot.
He's hot,
but like,
time.
Yeah. I mean, that dude is that's a sexy man.
That is a beautiful man.
Even though he looks 13, but he's a man.
It depends on what angle I get. Like this one I'm looking at. Holy shit, Mark Wahlberg has a mustache. But he's got like longer hair. And he looks like he's like 25.
Mark Wahlberg?
No. I mean,
I don't think Mark Wahlberg's ever looked 25.
Mark Wahlberg in this with the mustache kind of looks like he's like 30.
I mean, even when he was in the Funky Bunch, or with the Funky Bunch, I don't even think he looked 25.
He was, what, like 19, 20?
He was something.
He was something.
Oh my god. Oh, Marky Mark.
God
Good,
damn, dude, he's old
good
as shit.
vibrations. Feel it, feel it.
Didn't he had a fucking, like a PSA or like a workout thing he was doing. Like around the time he was in the Funky Bunch. It was like, what was it? See if I'm on his IMDb. I wonder if I can find it.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Yeah. Such a good vibration. Such a sweet sensation.
MC Hammer, too legit to quit.
Bringing this to the entire nation. Black, white, red, brown. Feel the vibration. Come on, come on. Feel it, feel it.
Oh, fuck, what is it? I don't think it's Step by Step. That's a music video.
Pretty sure. Well, no, that's a different Wahlberg entirely.
What, Marky Mark?
Yeah, Marky Mark didn't. He wasn't in. He wasn't in New Kids on the Block. That was Donnie Wahlberg. That's his brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's Good Vibrations. There's Wild Side.
Yeah. The only thing that anybody knows, I think, is Good Vibration. Unless, like, if there's somebody out there that's like, I fucking love Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Like, that was my shit when it came out, and I'm sad that they broke up. Like, I want to know. I want to know if we've got some Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I want to know the Funky Bunch. If you're out there and you're a member of the Funky Bunch, let me know.
I'd love to ask you a few questions. First off,
why?
Also, I guess Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch had a Sega video game. It's called Make My Video. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch Sega music video game.
Why?
I don't know.
It's like Shaq.
Oh, he's a boxer?
It's like Shaq Fu.
No, it's like let me get Shaq Fu. I need a.
And then there was like that Michael Jordan. It was like Trouble in the Windy City or some shit, or Showdown in the Windy City. And for some reason, Michael Jordan knew like karate or whatever. Like, what was that? Like, Michael Jordan Showdown in the Windy City.
Oh no, it wasn't like Shaq Fu. It's like
Chaos in the Windy City. That's what it is. It's a fucking Super Nintendo game. Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City. Yeah, that checks out. Then there was like a Michael Jackson game as well. I think it's called Moonwalker. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, he does have a video. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was called Moonwalker. It was the NES, I believe. Nope, Sega. It was Sega. God damn.
Old as shit.
What the fuck? We're kind of going off on a tangent about video games right now, but
It just blows my mind. I'm trying to find. Before we circle back, we'll probably circle back before I even figure this out. But it's one of those video games that is shot like a movie, but you can decide in the video game what they say, and then it's kind of like a roguelike in a way. But it's. I'm gonna send you this picture. You have to see this. Even if it doesn't make it in here, you have to see this.
I mean, I can always put it on the screen, but
Let's see if I can.
while we're looking for this picture, Yeah, so we're at the bar. He pickpockets this girl's jewelry, and then Marky Mark, he comes in and he's like, "I see you just took that girl's bracelet." I mean, he's not so on the nose with it. He actually has some good dialogue. It's well written. I think the movie's well written. Uh, it's a little charming at times. I think they have a lot. Like I said earlier, they have good chemistry. Marky Mark and Tom Holland. But I think those two are just so good that they that they could just work well with anyone. Marky Mark has had his roles where you're like, why did you do this? What? No. The Happening. Good God. I hope we get it. What? No.
No.
I didn't say that. He's like incredibly soft spoken in that movie, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, he's like this. Like, Mark Wahlberg, you don't think like a soft spoken science teacher. That's one of the many problems of that movie, where like the casting and like the choices they made were like, why would you do that to Mark Wahlberg? Like, he's like this, like the other guys is like a perfect example of what Mark Wahlberg should be doing.
The other guys is fucking hilarious. I love the other guys.
And I feel like he's kind of got like the same kind of like that's who Mark Wahlberg should be playing, is like this like very toxic masculinity type.
Yeah. He just fits the bill so well.
Yeah, and then he's just like,
what are you doing, guy?
Pain and Gain was another good movie with him in it. Like, him and The Rock have great chemistry. Like, who fucking knew? Well, I mean, The Rock was in the other guys as well, very briefly. But he was there.
Very briefly.
Him and Sam Jackson. I would pay good money to see that in theaters. Like, if they were to make a movie about Sam Jackson and The Rock as two like over the top police officers in like a big budget action movie. Like, give us that.
I'm honestly surprised they haven't made it yet. Because, like, for a while, people were wanting it pretty bad. Or unless that's like a more recent thing. Derek Jeter's in that movie.
I didn't think about my cup choice before we started. It's got branding on it, so I gotta be like.
I don't know if people can see mine. I mean,
Well, I mean, I think Liquid Death is safer than Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah, no.
We're not sponsored by either one, but if we were gonna get popped by somebody, I would rather it be.
Coca-Cola's fine.
I'd rather it not be Coca-Cola.
Why? You don't have to drink. You don't have to drink Coca-Cola.
I don't drink Coca-Cola. I mean,
either.
I do, but it's like very limited. Most of the time, there's alcohol involved.
I mean, whatever gets you drinking it.
Yeah. Shout out to alcohol. all alcohols.
I wish I had my alcohol around me. It's in the kitchen.
I've actually toned down quite a bit on drinking, which is great. I haven't drank a lot in a while. I'll have like one or two drinks every now and then. But I used to be way worse.
Yeah, me too. I feel you. I used to drink way too much. Now it's like, I was at work, I think like last week, and I was like, I'm gonna have a drink when I get home. And I get home, I look at my sake, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Nah.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it.
Sake.
Yeah, sake. I love sake. It's so good. It's weird because like, it's a dry wine, but the dryness gets sent up to your nose, and then all the sweet undertones are in your mouth.
Huh.
It's very odd feeling, but it's so good. It's so sweet.
I don't think I've ever had sake. So.
I don't think you don't like wine too much, do you?
I like white. White wine's really
White wine?
good. I hate red wine. Red wine tastes. I mean, all wine really tastes like feet, to be honest. But like,
You got to get the right ones. A lot of wines, especially around here, are dry. I fucking hate dry wines.
yeah,
I like the wet wine.
the wet wine.
The wet wine.
I need my wine to be wet. What? You go to a liquor store, you're like, you guys got any wine? I like it wet. They're like, it's fucking liquid, dude.
This is dry. Put it under the tap water. I want it wet.
I want it wet.
I want my wine wet.
Speaking of alcohol, there's a lot of alcohol consumption in this movie,
Oh,
specifically by Tom Holland. He is a fucking alky dude. Like, that motherfucker, he pulls out, like, later in this movie, he pulls out, like, this really old, like, whiskey from, like, on the ship they get onto. We'll get more into it.
This thing's like 500 years old.
Yeah, and he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And even Mark Wahlberg's like, don't fucking do that shit. And he's like, I'm doing it. And then he's like, oh fuck.
He spits it out. I think Tom Holland's roles in Spider-Man have prepared him for this role, because Spider-Man's not like, he's not really a smart aleck. He kind of is a little bit. He's got like quips, but so does Nathan Drake. But Nathan Drake also is a smart ass.
Yeah, I think he's. I just think he's really good in that. He's so much better than Andrew Garfield when it comes to being like a very quippy guy, I guess.
Yeah.
How do we go about saying that? But he's very, very good at these little quips, and I know they were written for him, but maybe not. Sometimes maybe he ad-libbed some of these, but like he just has the delivery down. Whereas like Andrew Garfield, okay, I'm gonna put it out there that I think that Sony's Spider-Man movies, like with Andrew Garfield, they were poorly done. I think that they focus too heavily on the product placement and not too much on the story or the likability of the characters or even the chemistry of the characters. There's a moment where Gwen Stacy literally goes, "I break up with you, Peter." Like,
yeah, because that's how adult talk. Adult talk like this.
That's how adult talk.
Talk like this. I break up with you.
That's how conversation work.
That's it. We speak adult talk. They say we have. I break up with you,
Peter.
Peter.
She could have put the Peter. She could have put the Peter before the whole thing. Peter, I break.
Peter before the hole.
Wait, no, because that doesn't make sense either. Peter, I break up with you. No, that sounds stupid too.
Peter, I'm breaking up with you.
Yes. Yeah,
Just a little. Just ing.
Just a little bit more effort there. But the writer was just like, "Oh, I break up with you. I break up."
It's gonna be quirky and cute, and everyone's gonna love it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure nobody else cared. I'm pretty sure there's problems I have with those movies that nobody else gives a shit about.
My problems are the skateboarding scene and the first one. They are fucking. I hate whenever they do it in cartoons too, or they'll grind down a handrail be like fighting ninjas at the same time. And then like they'll like get off the rail in a completely different stance, and it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
And like whenever he was doing it, he was like doing flips and everything, and like I get it. If I was Spider-Man and I was skating, I would do the same thing, but I don't know. It just reminded me of poorly done cartoon skateboarding.
Yeah. There's like, I have that same, like, well, I'm not a pro wrestler or anything, but I feel like as a pro wrestling fan, I get upset when it's portrayed in movies or TV shows, and they're like, all right, I'm gonna body slam them, and then they do a suplex, or like, I'm gonna do this, or whenever they go for a pin, they're laying on their back, or they're laying on their stomach as opposed to their back with their shoulders down, because that's not how you pin in pro wrestling. Like, they're like, oh, the opponent's laying on their stomach, and then they like do a splash on them, and then they put up their like leg in the air, but they're like, and they're like 1, 2, 3, and it's just all wrong. Like, it's cringe. And it's like, why even put pro wrestling if you're not gonna do the proper research to make it look good? Like, I don't understand why you can't just go, how is a person supposed to lay during a pinfall? Like, I hate that shit.
I think every movie should have a research department.
I think they do. I think like big budget like films have like departments specifically dedicated to, like, I'm not saying Nacho Libre is like the best example of a pro wrestling movie, because it fucking isn't. But there's some things they got right, and you're like, okay. I think they did enough research to where it was a pro wrestling movie, but it's silly as fuck. Like, it's just, I mean, it was supposed to be. I take Nacho Libre with a grain of salt. I'm really happy with the way they did The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, because they took like, so the story there is that Mickey Rourke is an aging wrestler who is trying to like get one more shot at glory because he had it in the 80s, and now he's like wrestling up and coming like newer wrestlers, and he's going to the independent circuits, and he's trying to do all this all over again, and like it's just like, and it's heartbreaking because like you're seeing his career, like his career, it's not a good resurgence, it's not a good look, and it's never been a good look in wrestling where like an older like wrestler tries to come back. There's some small example, or like, there's a few examples where it's like, oh shit, you can still go, but it's like there's a way more instances where it's like, oh no, I don't want to see this.
It's kind of like heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah, and all the whole time they add in a storyline where he's trying to save his relationship with his daughter, and it's like, oh fuck. Like, Darren Aronofsky, by the way. So I don't know if you know much about Darren Aronofsky, but his movies are fucking heartbreaking. So, for the most part, he did like Black Swan, he did The Wrestler. I think he did like Tree of Life and shit like that too. Like he's incredible. Again, we're getting off topic. This podcast is, we focus on a movie, but we also focus on way more shit.
When you're listing off movies, what were you saying? You said Black Swan.
Yeah, Black Swan, The Wrestler. I think he did Tree of Life.
He produced The Whale. So I mean, like kind of true to form.
Yeah.
Real sad movies.
Darren Aronofsky. Oh fuck. Darren Aronofsky. Yeah, he's fantastic. The Wrestler was good. Did he actually do RoboCop, like the newer one? No. He did Mother with Jennifer Lawrence. Requiem for a Dream. We watched that together. He directed Requiem for a Dream.
That's a fucked up movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fuck.
It wasn't Tree of Life. It's called The Fountain. I was thinking of The Fountain.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he also directed The Whale.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah. He wrote and directed Requiem for a Dream. He directed Black Swan. He directed and wrote Mother. Yeah, he did great. He's got so much good shit. He's an executive producer on another Mark Wahlberg movie, The Fighter, with Christian Bale. Yeah.
He did produced the movie Jackie. Is that like Jackie? What's it? Jackie Kennedy. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a sad movie too. I'm going down a wormhole right now.
All right. Well, while you're going down a wormhole, we're going to continue talking about Uncharted. Yeah. So Tom Holland pickpocketing motherfuckers. Then Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Well, Marky Mark sans the Funky Bunch. He comes in. He's like, "You need to work with me, kid. I'm gonna take you to the top of the."
And take it to the top.
He's like, I'm gonna take it to the top, and then he
take it to the top.
And then he's like, why should I work for you? And then he's like, oh, I'm not going to, and you can get the fuck out of this bar. And then apparently he steals the bracelet from Tom Holland, because he's apparently a good pickpocket as well. Pickpocket. And then he goes to, he leaves him his card, and then he's like, well, I'm not gonna call you, so bye. And then Marky Mark leaves, and then Tom Holland's like, God damn it, he took the bracelet. So then he goes to his apartment and breaks in, and then Marky Mark's like, hey, what's going on, man? What are you doing in here? And he's like, were you expecting me? He's like, yeah, I even made you a drink. I thought that was really fun. I thought that was a very cute moment in the movie. He's like, yeah, Shirley Temple, go fuck yourself. But then they end up... Go ahead.
I like Marky Mark as Sully, but something I wanted to add was they did not. So Sully, I'm gonna try to find a picture so you can see. Sully is always wearing like a Hawaiian shirt. Or I guess it's like a button up. But he's got a mustache. He's got a big fat cigar like all the time. Let me see if I can.
Maybe we'll get more of that in a sequel, but like, whatever. I think they were.
It's just kind of like.
I think they were really focused on just making Mark Wahlberg. I don't know, man. I don't really know much about the games though, so I'm just like, again, to me, this is just a standalone action movie called Uncharted. Because I don't know much. I don't know much about the video games. Not like I would go into watching like a Resident Evil game or movie, because most of those are fucking atrocious. But like, even the new one, I was like, fuck this. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, I like the fan servicey stuff, but as a standalone, it's a dog shit movie. I think this is the opposite, where
No, this is a good movie. It's just they didn't adapt as much as I would have liked personally. Like
so
they could have just instead of just Marky wearing like a jacket the whole time, they could have just thrown a button up over him. He could have kept
yeah,
his mustache. He had a mustache,
yeah, yeah,
and then big fat cigar. That's it.
yeah, yeah. I think what I'm trying to say with my rambling is that like I like the direction they went with it because it was I like obviously the clothes and a cigar would have probably made it better.
Yeah.
But like that's just like fan servicey stuff. If you're leaning heavily on fan service more than actually like, and I don't even care if it's like adapted well. Like I care if the story's good
It
because
was.
I'm more of like a film like purist where I would rather sit through something that is compelling and fun or compelling and if you're going for something, if you're going for a tone, I want you to nail that tone and they did. Whereas Resident Evil, like even the new one, the Welcome to Raccoon City, it was fan service the whole way through. There's a lot of really cool Easter eggs in it that you're like, okay, if you're a fan of the games, you'll get this. But they lack story and they lack like a I don't know, the chemistry with the characters is bad, and then like just everything about Welcome to Raccoon City was dog shit, and they relied heavily on the use of the word fuck throughout the movie to I don't know garner what reaction exactly. Because they were like, I just don't know what they were going for. And me and MK watched it in theaters, and I was like, this sucks. Like, the whole time, I'm like, this is dog shit.
But with Uncharted, the only things everything else they got right, and the only things that I have a concern with are all cosmetics. Like it won't affect the story if he wears a button up, he has a mustache, or he smokes a cigar.
Yeah.
It might add dialogue, but the thing is, they did have Nathan Drake's like costume in the movie. Like towards the end, he had that white shirt on with I think he had like cargo pants on,
Yeah.
and like it was even tucked in like in the video game is. So
Yeah.
they had the ability to do it, but someone decided not to. And it's not like a bad thing. Like it was still a good movie. The story was good. It was just cosmetics.
In the games, does like is Sully dressed practically? Like, is he like able to would he be able to do some of the things that he does in this movie? Like
All Sully does is just talk shit over the radio, and he flies and drives boats. Well, he doesn't fly boats, but he flies helicopters and drives boats.
okay.
Nathan's the one going in there, having a shootout. He's solving puzzles. He's the main focus of everything. Sully just kind of like backs him up and talks shit over the radio.
Okay. Gotcha. And it's kind of like that
Yeah.
in this, but he also does kind of get his hands dirty as well. Sometimes he'll just pop up randomly where like you didn't expect him to be. It's like, oh shit.
That's like the video game, yeah. He'll just pop up and you're like, oh shit, hey, you're already here.
So they got
But-
that. Then,
Like everything else is fine. The fact that he flies helicopters, I didn't. They mix and match all four of the games into this one movie. There's some, like, in the first three you don't find out about his brother. In the fourth one, this was. If they make a sequel, they've got to put this in. And the fourth one there's a flashback where Nathan and Sam are actually in a prison together. Like whenever they're all grown up, they're like in a prison. So maybe that's what they're gonna do in the second one. He's gonna go to prison and try to free him. I'm spoiling the ending.
I don't give a shit.
But
Hopefully other people don't give a fuck.
that's what we're spoiling the movie anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they'll do that in the sequel, but I just remembered that yesterday that they did that in the fourth one.
Mm.
And
So it
then he
seems
kind
like
of
they're
lost
kind of
it
like
a little bit.
skipping ahead as much as possible to try to
Yeah.
like this. Okay, they are clearly trying to go for a new franchise for Sony here. Um, Once they run out of material, they're probably gonna try to do other shit because for like a cash grab. So that's what I'm worried about. Is that they're gonna run out of material because how many Uncharted games are there? Like 4 or 5?
It's four.
4. Yeah, and they kind of rushed through. Uh, Based on what you're telling me, because I have no fucking clue. Uh, but it seems like they're rushing things a bit. So, I mean, it's still the pacing's still pretty cohesive, like
Yeah.
for the movie, but because like you're
No, the
trying to
movie's good.
you're trying to tell a story in 2 hours. They wanted to put in what they could to make it as good as possible for like a wider audience who don't play video games and maybe they do just watch like action movies or like so I can see why they would try to rush
Oh yeah.
something, but like I know there's going to be a good deal of people who do play the games and they're like, why did they rush this? If they're going to try to tell a story in like 4 movies, why wouldn't you just make like the movie based on the first game or something? That's a lot of content though. So like obviously you
Yeah.
would like a video game is way more than 2 hours. Like so
No, yeah. Like Elden Ring alone, like this is a completely different game. But to beat the story, people can do it in like they can cheat and do it in like a minute,
yeah,
which is fucking insane. Um, but
there's skill involved for sure.
yeah, it's a 30-hour game,
Good
and
God.
the fourth Uncharted game I think was like around that time, like the same, like it was like 20 to 30 hours. That's like the average for video games, like 20 to 30 hours. So
I'm mesmerized by speedrunning.
it's insane, dude.
I go down I go down that rabbit hole so fucking often where I just like get lost in watching people speedrun shit because I'm just like
Oh yeah.
fucking how like there's
Have
so
you
there's so much skill involved and it just baffles me that people are that good at
have you
video
seen
games.
people speedrun Mario 64?
Yeah, yeah, I have. That's like
That
what
shit is
that's
insane.
one of the rabbit holes. Like I think if you're into that, like I think if you're into speed running, that's one of the rabbit holes that you have to get down because it's
Yeah,
like
there's so many.
um there's some really cool channels where they like chronicle the history of speed running and stuff and it's like so, um
I just saw one video on I think it's called Eraser. I think that's what the game is called.
I think Summoning Salt is the one of the channels that yeah, Summoning
Okay.
Salt. They do a lot of really cool shit, and they talk about like the history of different world records that like for like a lot of different games, and they go so in depth with like everything. It's super fucking cool. I've been watching those a lot, so
There's this game called I think it's called Eraser. People I think on average it's supposed to take you like 5 minutes, which isn't a long game, but it's supposed to be like 5 to 10 minutes to get to the top. And people are like doing it in like 13 seconds. It's fucking stupid.
yeah, I
Like they're
watched.
like breaking the physics of the game somehow. Like not even cheats or anything. They're just like breaking the physics to go up faster. It's fucking wild.
I've watched speed runs of like Cuphead, which is a difficult fucking game in itself, but there's like
Yeah.
full speed runs of that shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Have you what was it? Have you seen those videos of games on Steam and then trying to speed run it or like get all the achievements within 2 hours to
no,
get a refund?
no, I have
No,
not
there's a
seen.
there's a guy that did Portal and I think he beat it in like it's not a long game, but he was doing a lot of these like weird glitches that like would take a considerable amount of skill and practice to do, and he beat it in like an hour. Got all the achievements and everything. Kind of crazy, and he got his money back.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy.
What is that category called? Like, what is that called? Like,
The Steam one.
Yeah. Do you just type in like Steam speedruns or like
Let me try to
speed
find
run,
a
speed run or refund?
video. I don't even know. That's a good one though. Speedrunners, Steam, maybe Steam speedrun. Yeah, Steam speedrun refund.
We're like 40 minutes in, and we've only talked about the very beginning of this movie.
I know. When I was going down my own rabbit hole a second ago, I was looking at the time like, damn, we're like fucking 30 minutes in, 35 minutes in, and we've only just scratched the very beginning of this movie. We're halfway through our usual podcast, and we're only at the beginning of the movie. Our tangents have gone on too far.
Has science gone too far?
Sharks with human teeth? No. Now they'll be eating our food.
Instead of us!
Instead of us. God damn it. I think if science had really put incisors and molars on a shark, that would be a good thing. Science would not have gone too far. They would have done the right thing.
Yeah.
It would have been harder for them to eat us. I mean, they could still eat us. They smush us, but
yeah, they would.
I think they'd be a lot
have more difficulty chewing.
Yeah, they might acquire a taste for seaweed.
Ooh.
And just swallowing fish.
There's like sharks out there. They're like, I'm vegetarian.
Eat with a knife and fork.
This is really good seaweed.
A little too salty.
Oh my god. We were watching Chopped last night, and I thought, because like, we were making a lot of jokes at the expense of these contestants, and like, there's this German guy on, and he got chopped, and then he was like, I just blurted out like, "Oh man, maybe I should have had more concentration." Just fucking, we were dying because like it came out of nowhere, and I just like, that was a terrible German accent. And I do apologize.
Yeah, it sold it better.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about this movie for a bit. So they go to Barcelona. They're looking for this treasure. This is a very this movie reminds me of National Treasure because they're like, what are these clues? And maybe Sam left me some clues. So he's like constantly looking at these postcards. They end up going to Barcelona where there's an auction for this key. Because they need 2 keys, and Mark Wahlberg, he says he has one, but then they meet up with the person who actually has it, who's partners with, these air quotes there, partners with Marky Mark. So they go to this auction, and he convinces Tom Holland to basically create a diversion so that he can get his hands on this key before somebody buys it. And the guy that they're worried about buying it is a descendant of the Moncada, or what was it?
Magellan.
The Magellan.
I don't know if it's Magellan. It's got to be, or somebody from his crew or something.
Yeah.
But it's Antonio Banderas.
Ooh, it is. It is Antonio Banderas. Puss in Boots himself.
He makes a cameo
in the flesh.
he's a lot more menacing than the cat, but he's still the cat. He's still a pussy.
Good one. That was a good one. But he's so they're at this fucking auction, and so Tom Holland goes up and he puts the gum in the door, and he's like, I'm gonna need to go through that door, and then he what the fuck happens here? Where he's like, because he's in this.
He's trying to cut the power.
Yeah, he's trying to cut the
And
power.
The Scottish man comes up. He's like, "What you doing that lot? You're gonna talk."
He's like, "Yeah, have a fucking nice day," or some shit like that. And Tom Holland's like, "What the fuck did you just say to me?" Because even like the audience probably aren't supposed to know what the fuck he said, but we had subtitles on, so we were like, he clearly said.
Even reading it, I was just like, "What?"
I'm gonna make you a Scottish breakfast or whatever the fuck he said to him.
That will be you're having.
Yeah. How are you so good?
That was a terrible one. What are you talking about? That will be what you're having.
You sound like Shrek.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do.
That'll do, donkey. It's just a donkey.
it's just a donkey.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's basically what the guy sounded like. He was Shrek for sure.
Oh, for sure. Big green.
Yeah. he was
green.
He was green. And then Tom Holland's like, "What the fuck are you saying?" So they're getting into a little altercation here, and a little spat, and then he outsmarts him. He outsmarts the guy, and then there's another guy coming his way, so he's kind of cornered. So he jumps on the chandelier. It's like a whole, or it's like a bunch of hanging lights. They're all fluorescent light tubes, and they're all hanging, I think is what it. But it's like they're like fancy light tubes. They're not like ones you would buy and smash people over the head in a shitty wrestling promotion. But I don't like death matches. Death matches are fucking awful. But yeah, so he's hanging from one and he's like slipping and he's like, "Oh shit." And then he's also talking shit to the two people and he's like, why don't you fat asses come out here?" And it's just hanging out in these light tubes. And then Mark Wahlberg's like, "Come on, dude," because he's bidding for this. He's like, "Fuck, I'm spending money that I don't have, dude. Come on."
Yeah, he's up to like $2 million. Something.
Yeah, it's like $2.1 million or something. And he's like, "I don't have that shit. Come on." And he's like, "You gotta do something now, quick." And he's just like, "Well, that's something." And he's just like, "Get for these light tubes." And then he ends up falling and does some Spider-Man shit to like make sure he's not hurt, which is great. Don't want Tom Holland to get hurt. He is a 13-year-old boy. They'll
have a lawsuit on their hands.
Yeah.
Parents will sue.
The parents will sue. So yeah, they end up going and leaving, and Mark Wahlberg walks out with the thing, and then one of the nemesis of this, her name's Joe Bob. Braddock. Yeah, her name's like Joe
Braddock.
Joe Braddock. There's got to be more to her name.
Let me see if I can find.
She's got a really cool knife, but it doesn't.
Yeah, a little curved knife.
Yeah, it doesn't look that practical.
No.
But it's cool. But she like holds it up to Marky Mark's throat. It's like, give me the key, and he's like, no. And he's like, guys, she's trying to steal the key. He's posing as one of the like people who are like working for the event. So he's like got the briefcase. He's like, I'm trying to take it and get it to safety and put it back in its case. He's trying to steal it though. We know this. And he does successfully because he walks out with it whenever, and then like he just leaves the poor bastards to deal with the girl with the knife, and she's whooping their ass. Like she's
kicking their ass.
She's
it's
like
nobody's fucking business.
She's like breaking arms and shit. Like she don't give a fuck. And then when he walks out, he's like, "Those poor bastards," because he knows that she is dangerous. So he gets away, and then he ends up getting back in his car, and Tom Holland is there waiting for him because he was trying to ditch him too, and he's just in the car waiting, and he's like, "Oh fuck." He's like, "You were just gonna leave me there to die?" And he's like, "I mean," but yeah. And then they end up going to. They go to. It's not Barcelona still, is it? Is it?
It's all in Barcelona, yeah.
Yeah. Because they have to find like a church. Because they start looking at these like clues and shit. They're like, we gotta do these things, and we gotta go to a church. And there's going to be a little pedestal where you can put the keys in. And they end up doing that. They find that. And they're like, once they put the keys in, they try to turn it clockwise. And then it shoots darts at them. And they're like, fuck. And there's some pretty funny dialogue here where, like, Marky Mark's like, "Oh, yeah, shit. You guys almost fucking killed me." So he's like, "I can't fucking read this book, and you're trying to get me to read this book." And he's like, "Yeah," and he's the reason why they turned it clockwise in the first place. But he's like, "Yeah, maybe turn it the right way this time." And they're like, "You're the one who fucking told us."
It's like, well, I don't have my glasses on. It's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah. So then they turn it the right way, and then it like opens up like a little pathway, but they have to push the pedestal outward to get there. It's on a track though, which I think is pretty cool design. But it's on a track, but they have to push it they have to physically actually push the fucking thing. It's not like fancy where it's like. There's moments in this movie where that happens, where it's automatically and it starts opening on its own, but not this time. And I like that. I like that they worked. They had to work a little harder for it. There's some pretty cool traps in this movie. I like it. One of them comes later with a lot of water, and I think that's pretty cool. The way they did like the one person has to go up, one person has to go up, and one person has to go down, and then they both have to have these keys. I think the puzzle aspect of this movie is pretty interesting. Hopefully, they expand on that in other movies or in a sequel where they have like. I don't want it to become like too complicated. I don't want it to be like a Saw situation where it's like, all right, this movie's all about puzzles now, and it's like.
This whole movie's just one long puzzle.
I mean, that's basically National Treasure.
Oh god,
yeah. This movie is like, I feel like they focus more on the characters than they do the puzzles, which I appreciate. Whereas National Treasure, the only character that we really see is we're all super smart and we can figure out these puzzles, and then that's some shit happens and Sean Bean dies.
It's Sean. Oh yeah, he does. He doesn't die in that movie.
Oh no, he doesn't. He gets arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One movie where he doesn't die.
Yeah, he gets arrested.
God. I hate Sean Bean. They're always just killing him off.
Fuck you, Scene Bean.
Scene Bean. Sean's name is spelled S-H-A-W-N, and
yes.
he hates Shawn being spelled S-E-A-N.
Yeah, because it's dumb.
So, on Facebook, his name is Scene Bean. Sean Bean. And then for a second there, I think I was like telling somebody I had a podcast with you, and I spelled your name like that for a second. Like, wait a second, no, that's not right. Like, now I've gotten to the point where the joke has gone too far, and I at times forget how to spell your actual name.
Damn. Damn it.
It's okay. I caught myself.
That's good. Shawn. You even like struggled a little bit when you were like it's spelled Shawn.
Because whenever I see you text me, it's Scene Bean.
Yeah.
That's better than my other friend. I called his name on Facebook for me is it's Tricky Dick, like as in Nixon, and he got kind of offended when he found out.
That's cool.
It's still Tricky Dick.
Which friend is that?
It's Tristan. He's like, fuck you.
Oh my god.
That's what I was looking for.
That's the reaction I like.
Jesus.
Yeah, but there's a lot of near death in this movie, but obviously they're all the main characters. Chloe, Nathan, and Sully. Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
I'm calling him Marky Mark because I couldn't remember his name.
Sullivan.
You could tell that I am not an Uncharted player. I have not played the video games, but
I don't. What's her name? You said it's Chloe.
Yeah.
I don't know if Chloe was in a game. I'd have to play the first one. It's probably in the first one.
Chloe Fraser. Fraser. Fraser.
Like the show.
I'm a therapist in Seattle. I think it's Seattle.
Yeah, isn't it?
Pretty sure.
Alright, we better not get too sidetracked.
It's Kelsey Grammer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dr. Fraser Crane.
Yeah. I watched a bit of Frasier to fall asleep back in like 2015.
I remember you telling me that, and that shit cracked me up.
I was like, I need something to go to sleep to. Frasier.
Frasier.
It worked. That show is too sophisticated for its own good, and it got like 15 fucking seasons. Like,
oh my god, 263 episodes.
Yeah. I don't know how it kept getting picked back up. Like,
it's like the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Like, people just watch it because they want to feel smart.
It's too much. Like, you could be smart without being pretentious.
Yeah, there's being smart and funny, and then there's just being too smart and not realizing that you're not funny, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then with the Big Bang Theory, I equate it to like, and I told somebody else this, and they were like, "What the fuck?" We were in Portland, and we were at a bar, and they were talking about the Big Bang Theory, and I was like, I don't like that show, and they were like, "Oh, well, how do you feel about it?" And I'm like, well, it is very much like how your parents probably think you speak to your friends whenever you move out of the city that you're from, and it's your parents watching it to basically placate the fact that you don't call them anymore.
This is just how my little Joey's been doing. This is how he talks to all of his friends.
Yeah. And they were like, oh shit. So yeah, that's how I feel about that show.
It's trying too hard for me.
Yeah. And then the laugh tracks
oh.
don't make it better either.
I hate laugh tracks.
I also got into an argument with somebody online about whether or not a laugh track makes it a sitcom or not. And obviously no. There's sitcom is situational comedy. So like anything where your characters get into shenanigans, like It's Always Sunny is a sitcom.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
It's a sitcom. Scrubs is a sitcom, but it just doesn't follow the same format that laugh track sitcoms did, because that was a big thing in like the late '80s and then all of the '90s. was laugh
Yeah.
track sitcoms, and we still have them. They're just a dying. Thankfully, they're dying.
Now
Um,
they're just Disney Channel and Nickelodeon shows.
yeah,
It's the family value
yeah,
TV shows.
yeah. They're just like not. They're not as good as like other sitcoms now. Where, and for like, you can honestly kind of say that shows like, well, no, shows like Shameless. I wouldn't consider Shameless a sitcom. I would consider that like a ensemble drama, like an ensemble cast, uh, and it's very dramatic, but it has a lot of comedic elements, and everybody's getting into shenanigans. But it's like, I feel like that's less of a sitcom because it's not really supposed to be a. It's not supposed to be a com.
It's not. It's supposed to be a sit, not a com.
Yeah, situational drama, but with comedy. It's I don't know. It's really hard to really put a genre on that show because it's just like it's all over the place, but in like the best way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we're getting a little sidetracked, but yeah, it's just a little bit this time. We kind of veered off, and now we're back on track. We swerved a little to avoid hitting a turtle on the road, and then now we're back. At least we should have got out and pushed the turtle along, but we just didn't want to hit the guy.
We didn't want to scare him any more than he was already scared.
Yeah, and it's not a very busy road, so
Nah.
we're
We're driving through the desert.
Yeah, he's okay.
he's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, they do the key thing, and then they get into this little area where... Fuck, what the fuck happens here after they turn the keys? Oh, that's when they discover the heaven and hell thing, and they're like, one person has to go up, one person has to go down. So they go into this little basement area, and then like she's like, well, I'm going down here. And then Nathan's like, me too. You're going to have to go up there. And he's like, oh, that was quick. And he's like, because he's making a joke that Tom Holland's trying to bone Chloe already. Kind of is. He's like, well, I'm gonna.
He most definitely is.
He is following her like a puppy, as he says. So he's like, you gonna hump her leg, basically, like. And then they go down, and then he goes up, and they're trying to stay. So they put in a GPS, or they have solely tracked their location so that he can see where they're at, so they can stay together, basically, while he's up in the world, and they're down in the dungeon, crawling around like it's Diablo or something. And then there's just no, evil shit that they gotta kill. But they so they go their separate ways, and they're walking, and then they find this room where they have the keys, and they have to. Well, no, I don't think this happens yet, right? Because
like they are going through, and they end up opening up a grate, and they're in like this rave.
Right.
That's where they got to find the keyhole.
Okay, and then they figure that out because there's like a bunch of stuff behind the bar, and then yeah. Okay, so first it starts with them because Joe or Braddock and her goons are following them, or at least her goons are following, and then she's following Sully, and then the goons are following the other two. So they're creating a distraction, and there's this thing with this fucking Zippo that Tom Holland, he keeps fucking with this Zippo that doesn't work. So he they pour a bunch of vodka or whatever, I think it's vodka, on the bar and set it on fire. and then he's like trying to fucking light it with the thing, and then she just grabs the candle and lights that shit. And he's like, it works. It's like, just let me fucking
Put some lighter fluid in it, Nate.
Yeah.
It can still be symbolic with lighter fluid.
Yeah. You don't have to keep your fucking shit up. But there's gonna be but he keeps doing this throughout the movie, and you're like, okay, there's gonna be a part where he's gonna need it to work, and then he's gonna magically get it. And he kind of does a couple times where he's like, yep, see, it works. And then
with the torch in the dungeon before they get down there, he's like, I got my Zippo here. He's basically just doing that to it.
And then
it finally lights, and he's like, see, I told you it works.
Yeah. I don't know how it works after he got it wet so many times.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He dove in the water with it.
Yeah, and then there's the scene that's coming up where they are basically about to drown. So there's a part of the puzzle once they get to the room, because there's this like little painting that they need to get through, and then it has this little area where they need to like jump in, and it's a very small space. So they do that to get away from the goons, and then isn't that little area where, or do they have to crawl through more shit before they get to the area where they get to the where the water starts coming in? Because that's one of the traps.
I think after that is when the water is, when they're in that area with the grate, and they're like on the ceiling there's a little keyhole.
Yeah.
They turn it, and then the water just starts coming up.
Yeah, and then
Sully, please get to where you need to go. And
yeah, he's like, I'm literally in a Papa John's right now. This is actual dialogue from the movie too. He's like, I'm literally in a Papa John's right now. And then
that's how you do product placement.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't a fucking Papa John's.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite dialogue from this movie. Is just like, I'm literally in a Papa John's. But he sees like there's a wall there, and it's encased by glass in a Papa John's, no less. And he's like, oh, I think I got it. So he starts trying to smash this glass with a chair. And I can just imagine being a customer in that Papa John's and like seeing first of all, seeing Mark Wahlberg.
Oh shit, that's Mark Wahlberg.
Oh fuck!
Oh my god, he's trying to break that glass.
And then it's like not budging at all. And then Joe comes out of nowhere. Braddock comes out of nowhere, like starts to try to fuck him up, and she's doing a good job. And then like on the headset the whole time they're like, please use the key. And he's like, I'm kind of fucking trying.
I'm kind of busy.
And he's like getting his ass beat, and then he starts returning fire, literally and figuratively, because he starts shooting, but he's shooting at the glass. He's not trying to shoot her. He's shooting at the glass to get it to break, and then they're fighting for like what seems like forever. Not quite like They Live. Like that movie's fight scene is like insanely long, but it's amazing. But they beat the shit out of each other for a while, and he finally gets the upper hand, and he turns the key, and
first off, he throws her through the glass.
Oh right.
He fucking throws her through that glass. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's good. It's good shit. It's good shit.
Yeah, it's good shit. There's some deaths in this that are fucking like, they made my fucking skin crawl just by like later on they're like on a ship, and some guy gets thrown off the ship, and immediately crashes into the side of a cliff, and you just hear his bones like.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think that's like the only real like gratuitous death scene in this. I don't even know if it's gratuitous. It's just like you can hear the crunch, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, did they need to do it like that? And I mean, it works. It's definitely a very impactful death. I still remember it.
Yeah. He watched it yesterday.
It was the other day.
I think it was yesterday.
No, it was the other day.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. It was 2 days ago. Because we were supposed to record yesterday, but we did not. Which is fine. But, because honestly, as long as we get something out, I don't really give a shit what day it is. But, yeah, so that shit happens, and then he saves them. He saves them from drowning, but Chloe's passed out because she's like losing oxygen, and then Tom Holland pulls her out of the little water trap, and then she goes, and then so she's not dead. Thankfully, Chloe's not dead. And then what the fuck happens after this?
They Sully turns the key, and then they go to this other room where there is another keyhole, and he's taking the top of the key and he's like spinning it, trying to get it to open, but it's not opening. And they find out that because like they're talking to Sully, he's up above, he's by this fountain, and he sees on the fountain that there's just like the shape. It looks like the two keys put together, kind of like that. And then he tosses down the key, and they put it together. And
with a little bit of resistance, he tosses it. And
he's talking about how they're just gonna steal it.
He's like, you guys better not screw me on this. And then it's like, they're like, well, you have to drop down the key. And he's just, because they don't think he's gonna drop down the key, and he just does. He's just like, and then they have to make the key look like a ladder, and then they open it up, and then they open up the door, and it kind of looks like Skyrim because it's like
it's Draugrs there.
But yeah, they see these urns, and they're like, oh, cool. And then so he gives Chloe a lift up to the top of the urns, and then she opens it up, and she's like, this is just fucking salt. And then they all just break. And then she's like, that's it? It's just fucking salt? And then Tom Holland, Nate sees this little tube thing, and it's a map. And then she points a gun at him. And then he's like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're just gonna...
I literally saved your life 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like, fuck you, man. He just stopped you from drowning, and now you're pointing a gun at him? What the fuck? And then she's like, give me the map. And he's like, well, first, tell me what happened to my... Well, she starts going like, Sully never told you what happened to your brother. And he's like, what happened to him then? And then he starts getting closer to her. And then he's like, please tell me what happened. And she tells him that he died. Sad. Very sad.
Nope. She doesn't tell him. She knocks him out, and then he confronts Sully about it.
In the same room.
I didn't mean to sound like an
no,
asshole.
No, you're good. No. I needed to be corrected sometimes because I didn't remember the story. So she knocks him the fuck out with her gun and takes the map, and then Sully comes down. He's like, what happened, kid? And he's like, I would like to ask you the same thing. What happened to my brother? And then they get into a little spat, and then don't they like go their separate ways for a while?
It makes it seem like it. So like he tells him that he died in a shootout, and he's like, so you just left him there to die? And he's like, well, I had to, basically. And he Nate storms out, and he's making it seem like he's gonna just leave him while Sully's trying to persuade him to stay. And then I think the next scene they're in the hotel. He's like packing his bags and everything,
Right.
and that's where he's like I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna finish what my brother started, but after this, you and me are going our separate ways.
Right. Yeah. Um, and then after that,
After that, um, damn, covered.
yeah, I'm kind of blanking on the events after the whole
Oh,
thing with them.
then uh, Chloe is actually working for Moncada,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
um, after Moncada killed his father because his father was talking about giving away all their money and stopping the whole wild goose chase for the treasure because they're looking for the treasure too. Um, he he gets a uh, he gets a cargo plane to go to the Philippines where they believe that the treasure is, and so uh, I don't remember how Sully and Nate got to the cargo plane. I think they just assumed that Chloe was working for them.
Yeah. The fuck?
I don't
uh,
remember.
yeah, I don't remember how they got to the fucking plane.
I just remember seeing them like. There's a couple things in this movie that didn't make sense to me. No, okay, so this is the only one because the other one was explained. I forgot. Um, but yeah, this is the only one I don't remember how they like because you see the cargo plane and they're loading everything up like they're loading this car.
Oh yeah, and there's a scene where Moncada and like is talking to like the older Moncada, and then they get into a like limousine, and Chloe's there sitting next to him, and then she stabs him in the throat like the older Moncada.
Um, Braddock that stabbed him
Oh yeah, Braddock,
or like
Braddock,
split
Braddock,
his
Braddock.
throat.
Yeah. Um. So
And then the
now,
next one is the cargo plane.
right? Yeah. So that happens, and then so Nate and Sully end up. It says Nate and Sully board the plane. I thought Chloe was on board the cargo ship, like
They
shooting.
all were, and then fucking Nate and Sully get into the trunk of the car and stow away.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
they
yeah.
get on. I don't remember it explaining how they found out where the cargo plane was. Like they kind of
Right.
just showed up and they were like spying on them.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, they're on a cargo plane.
Fair enough.
So a lot of shit happens here. There's a lot of fighting and pew pew pew. And
Oh, and fucking dude gets killed. Kind of out of nowhere too. Antonio Banderas.
yeah, he
He like
does.
he's like talking to them. And he's like, "We're gonna find this treasure." Blah blah blah. And then Braddock just comes up and slits his throat. And then all the guards are like, "Yeah, I would have done the same." They're all just nodding in agreement. Like, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, fair enough."
Well, so he's dead. And
And
then
then
so,
Chloe, fucking, because Braddock didn't like Chloe at all, and she just like fucking hightailed it out of there. Like he got his throat slit, and she's like, "Oh fuck," and they like snuck out, and they're all looking for her.
yeah.
And then Sully and Nate they get to the cargo bay, and Sully and Nate get out of the trunk, and they're like looking around, trying to figure out how to get down there. And Sully comes with the idea to get parachutes to go down.
Yeah.
And they're like, I think they're just scanning the area for Chloe, and they didn't find her. And like Sully had told Nate that Braddock was the one who killed Sam, so he's all pissed and he wants to confront her. And he's like, no, this isn't the time or place. Like, she will fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And they're like hiding, and Sully gets his parachute, and he's like, going over towards, I think, the escape door. And Nate sees Braddock walking and confronts her while he's holding the cargo release for all the fucking... was the door already open?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that's what they're heading for. And so he's got the cargo release for all the cargo in there. And he's confronting her about it. And I think one of them's like, they don't shoot at him. They like, ooh, I'm burping a lot.
It's that liquid death.
I know, it's murdering my thirst. It's also murdering fucking gut. It's all the carbonation. Sully parachutes out with... Yeah, so Sully parachutes out and Nate is... it doesn't really say. I don't remember like what happens because he ends up holding the cord and all the cargo gets flung out and a lot of the goons are getting tossed out and Nate's trying to not get tossed out, but he gets hit by one of the boxes, and that's where the beginning scene of the movie comes in, where he's like hanging by his foot on the cords.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called. And then he gets up to the cargo bay doors and then gets hit by the car that Chloe was hiding in. No, she gets in a shootout with Braddock and one of the goons.
Come here.
And what?
I got a nugget.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But
sorry.
where's my cat? What a cat. Sonic. Not you, Bean. So Braddock and Chloe get into a shootout, and she only has one bullet left, and she's trying to, like, Braddock is like taunting her about it. So instead, she sees that gasoline is being spilled, so she throws a flare over there to distract him. She shoots out the windows to the car, and hops in, and drives off of the cargo bay for some reason.
Yeah.
She hits Nate as he just gets up onto the door. And they're like falling. And she suggests that they jump to one of the cargos to pull the parachute, and that's they're like falling through the air and everything.
Yes.
And Shawn was like, because like he's falling really fucking fast, and he grabs on to Chloe, who's already on one of the boxes, and he like kind of like, so she's here, and he's falling, and it's kind of looks like she grabs his arm, and he's like, how the fuck did his arm break doing this?
Yeah.
Because it was fucking brutal the way, like, how hard he hit that shit. And
well, she grabbed him, so I don't know how the fuck her arm didn't break either.
Or like dislocated at least. So they pull the cord.
It is a movie.
Opens. Yeah, it's an action movie. Not everything has to be accurate. So they're floating down, and they hit the ocean. They kind of just float in there for a little while, and they see civilization. So they swim to the beach, and they meet somebody. And I think, you know, in Django Unchained, the new one where he's at the bar and he's talking to that guy, and he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Django," with a D. Like he's like the D silent, and the guy's like, "I know." And like that was kind of like a nod to the original Django movies, because
there's a new Django.
No. The Quentin Tarantino Django was a remake of the old Django movies.
Okay.
And, the guy that Django was talking to was the original actor for those Django movies.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Oh no, the original.
Yeah. And that was kind of like a nod from like Quentin Tarantino to the old directors and everything, and like the old movie But whenever they get onto the beach, the interaction that they have between this guy makes it seem like it's a nod in a way, but I can't tell who he is and what he's from, because he's like they say something, and it just sounds like complete bullshit and like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I know, I've been there." And like they like walk past and he like looks at them, and I think that was a nod to somebody. I wish I could find out. I kind of want to look it up. But the next scene is they're in a fucking a hotel because they somehow have money.
Yeah.
And not having jobs. So they're in a hotel, and Nate is going through all these postcards to try to find out, like, find any more clues to where the treasure is, or anything. And Chloe ends up going to bed. What?
And he uses a candle to, because he's like something unseen or something like that. That you've never seen before. So he uses a candle because his brother wrote him a note, like a secret note with like some like weird paper and ink. I don't know how the fuck that shit happens, but
me either. But yeah. So after Chloe goes to bed, he's going through and he does that, where he sees the note and it's like what does it say? It says something about like it says something about the compass. The answers in your compass.
The keys are the compass.
Yep. And so he takes the keys and pops off the sides, and this little like I don't know if you've ever seen a what is it called? A compass, like an actual like compass with like the pen on it. You like make circles with it. It's got a little prick like that.
Oh no! It's like one of those things that you use to make perfect circles in math.
Yeah, compasses.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain it. I hate that the compass, and then there's the compass, and they're both just like there's no different spelling. They're both just compasses. It's weird. I was gonna say sextant, but that's not the same thing. That's like completely different tool.
Watch your mouth.
Sorry. Poop dick. Yeah. So he puts one on the compass, on the map. He puts the key on the compass on the map, and one at the location that they thought, or that they found something. He puts it on one location, and he's like twisting it, and it like turns and perfectly lines up at this like beach area, like way out there. And so he's writing down the coordinates, and he looks over at Chloe, who's still asleep, and he's like he's thinking about how she betrayed him and like all the things like Sully said, like don't trust her. So he writes down false coordinates and leaves it on the table, and he hid the real coordinates in such a dumb spot. Like if she would have just sat down and looked at the wine bottle, because he put it rolled up in top of in a wine bottle, an empty wine bottle, and put the cork on it, and it was just kind of like if you looked at it, it's kind of like you can see it sticking out of the neck a little bit in the bottle. So if she would have just looked at it, she would have found it. But anyway, she didn't find it. She sees the false coordinates that he left for her, and she takes it and leaves. And then he takes the real coordinates, and then he leaves himself. And
this is after he wakes up.
Yep. After he wakes up, he sees that she left a note saying, like, basically, like, I'm sorry, but blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You're going the wrong way anyways. And he gets a boat. He's going towards the real coordinates. And Braddock and her men see him, so they start following him. And that's where he stumbles upon. He dives in the water, goes into this, like, underwater cave, and comes up. And somehow, there are two big-ass pirate ships in this cave. Don't know how the fuck it got in there. unless they like dismantled it and rebuilt it in there. But I highly doubt they did that. I don't, unless they like. I just don't know how the fuck this part blew. Like it was just racking my brain how they got these. Like, cause they have these in like certain movies where they'll have a pirate ship in this like forgotten cave, and it's like tucked way in there, and you're like, how the fuck did they get in there? They didn't dive with it. They didn't crash through the rocks. How the fuck did that ship get in there?
Yeah, exactly. They're pretty big ships. There's two of them.
Yeah, they're fucking massive, and they take they take helicopters like later on.
Yeah. There's like a whole lot of shit that's going into this like little crevice. It's like, I mean, it's an opening. It's not like a crevice, but it's like, it's not big enough for. I mean, it's big enough for the boat. We see how the boat goes in. Then there's like a bunch of like helicopters, and then they eventually lift the ships out. And you're just like, none of this makes sense. No. And I'm pretty sure if ships are that fucking old, they're gonna just fall apart when you try to lift them.
Oh yeah.
And there's a part where they're like hitting rocks and shit.
Yeah, and it's like barely scratching the boat.
Yeah,
that boat would fucking.
That thing is like, it doesn't like, yeah, and then like one of the boats end up like dropping. So we'll get into that, but
yeah, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage that happens to these boats that should have done more, but for plot's sake, they did not get like too damaged because there's people on them that are like, it's kind of cool because they're firing like their own guns and shit. And there's a part where Tom Holland uses his little lighter and like does something on the boat to like light it, and then lights a cannon, like so it shoots a cannonball right into one of the goons' like faces while he's flying a helicopter. That's really cool. This is like the most action you really get in this movie. Like there's a lot of action beforehand, but this is like the part, the action sequence.
Yeah, I like how they saved it for the end too.
Yeah,
like the most action packed, instead of like being like I'm trying to think of like an action movie that is just action all the way through. I guess, and this is the reason why it's such a bad movie. One of the reasons is Wanted. Wanted has action throughout the whole fucking movie, and it's kind of just like you get desensitized towards the end. You're like,
yeah, but with Wanted, it's like it's silly action. It's like you gotta curve the bullet. It's like, come on, James McAvoy, you're better than this.
We didn't know back then. That was before X-Men.
Or Split.
Yeah.
I don't think it was before Atonement. I think Atonement was a really good... Or It, Chapter 2.
I forgot he was in It, Chapter 2.
Him and Bill Hader were my favorite parts. And I like Jessica Chastain, too. I think she was really good, but...
That is a James McAvoy movie that I think I told you about. I can never remember the name of it.
My favorite character of all of It Chapter 2 is the kid that played Eddie. Like, that kid was fucking hilarious. Like, the kid version of Eddie is the best part of the new It. It's the first one and the second one. He is so enjoyable.
I don't remember which one's Eddie.
He was the little kid with the inhaler.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. The one who's like a mama's boy. He's fantastic. That kid is amazing.
That kid looks familiar too.
Yeah. But he's really fucking funny. He's like, I think he killed it more than McAvoy and Bill Hader. Like, and I love both of those actors. So it's like, I don't know. He's just like, his screams are amazing. His line delivery when he's like, "It's a gazebo," whenever he's talking about like placebos and shit. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I don't know. I love that kid. He's so fucking funny. Yeah, anyway, shit's popping off. So we've got boats swinging in the air. We got shooting. We got pew pew pew. We got Tom Holland shooting cannons at Scottish people's faces. And all this
A lot of
leads.
fighting on boats.
Yeah, and then swinging from ropes like they're fucking in Pirates of the Caribbean and shit. There's even a reference to Pirates of the Caribbean in this movie where Marky Mark is like, good job, Jack Sparrow, because Tom Holland's behind the wheel of the boat, and he's like, woo, set sail, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, come on, we got shit to do, Jack Sparrow. And he's like, I've been waiting so many years to do this. And he's like, this is what I've been wanting to do my whole life.
When am I ever going to be able to do this again?
Exactly. I'm very thankful that they didn't do like I'm the king of the world.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm
He's
really
just being like a realistic person being on a fucking...
Yeah.
A realistic man-child.
Yeah. I would do the same.
To be fair, I was about to say, I would do the same. I would be... Yar, all the hands.
Swap the poop deck. Walk the
Swap the poop deck.
walk the plank. Me lassie.
Aye, me lassie. Get me my room.
Oh my god. But yeah, anyway, so all this stuff happens. There's a lot of action. He tells Marky Mark to get into the helicopter and start flying away. Well, that was beforehand. And then they start firing. And then, like, he kills the Scottish guy. And...
That's one of the parts where, So, after the helicopter explodes, and the Scottish guy's like, aye, and he's, like, falling. They hit a rock, and the fucking helicopter explodes. And the boat comes down with it, and it just kind of boosh, 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 and, like, kind of breaks a little bit. But it's still intact. The fucking metal helicopter exploded, but the 500-year-old wooden ship did not break.
At all. I mean, I think it sunk, right?
Yeah, it hit enough where, like, I mean, there was already holes in the boat when they got there. That's how they got up there in the first place.
Oh yeah, and they were like looking at it, and they're like, "Isn't that majestic?" Like as soon as it like hits the water, the sails come down, and they're like, "Oh, that's a beautiful ship. When are you gonna ever see something like that?" And they're like, "Not in a million years." And then they're like, or some shit like that, or like not in like 2,000 years or some shit like that. They said something, and then it starts to sink, and they're like, "Well, there's that gold." And then so the other ship is being hauled by Mark Wahlberg in the because he's flying the helicopter, and Tom Holland is on the ship, and he's fighting Braddock, and she releases the anchor, which halts Mark Wahlberg's progress flying the helicopter in the ship. So they're fighting, and then Tom Holland starts climbing the ropes, and then Mark Wahlberg, his gold starts to fall out because he's got a backpack full of gold, and it starts to slip, and then gets caught on like the helicopter. Like so, he sets it to autopilot. He's like fuck, and he's trying to get his gold, and he eventually gets it. But in the meantime, Tom Holland is like fighting Braddock and trying not to die. So Mark Wahlberg has a decision to make. He's looking at the bag of gold, and he's looking at Tom Holland. He's like, fuck. So he like throws the bag at Braddock and smacks her in the face, and she falls down into the water. And then
somehow didn't die from that fall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there's a lot of water there, so maybe
when you're high enough, water's surface tension is a lot like concrete. So she'd have just died immediately.
Yeah, that's fair. Were they really that high up though? I think maybe they were.
I don't know. It never really established how high they actually were.
Yeah,
Because like the boat started like it was tipping. So like I don't know.
that's true. Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know. Well, for the sake of movie, we'll say they weren't that high up.
yeah,
And
it wasn't ever established how high they actually were.
but or else they'd be like, we're flying at an altitude of, or something like that. I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she lands in the water, and he's basically like wallowing over losing the gold. But then he also grabs Tom Holland's hand. He's like, "Come on, come on!" It's like, let's make this fucking worth it at least.
Yeah, don't
So,
make me regret this.
yeah, so he saves him, and they release the ship on to Braddock's head.
Yeah, that shit was nuts. Like, you see
Yeah.
her like treading water, and she looks up, and this fucking boat just down on her
Yeah,
head.
and it just like smashes into her.
Well,
And
we're
then-
not gonna be seeing her in Rush Hour 3.
What is that from?
Rush Hour 2.
Yeah. We're not gonna see her in Rush Hour 3. Oh my god, dude. Was that Chris Tucker that said that?
Yeah, it was one of the bloopers.
Yeah, we're not gonna see her in Rush Hour 3.
It was after they like kicked somebody out of a window, and she fell and landed on the car, and he's like, "Damn, well, we're not gonna be seeing her in Rush Hour 3."
Oh my god. I always thought Chris Tucker was trying too hard to be Chris Rock.
Yeah,
He's got his own
He was-
thing going though.
he was in Jackie Brown, and he's really good in Jackie Brown.
He's also good in was it The Fifth Element?
Oh yeah,
He's
he
very-
was really good in that.
He's very flamboyant in The Fifth Element.
He
but
pulls
I
it
like
off though.
it.
He does
Yeah.
so well. I love that role.
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious.
I don't know if he's done any movies lately.
I liked him in Rush Hour too. Well,
Yeah,
as well.
Rush Hours are just like classic movies. I feel like.
Yeah. Classic comedies. Buddy Cop.
Yeah, exactly. It was the buddy cop era. But I didn't know he was in Silver Linings Playbook.
Huh.
He
what?
yeah,
What? What the
he
fuck?
was. Who was he? He says he was Danny.
Danny.
Let's see. Oh, I think it's one of Bradley Cooper's friends from the hospital.
Ah.
Okay, but he got religious, and then he is no longer doing any roles that have smoking weed in it. So, Beaumont Livingston and Jackie Brown.
No Friday?
No Friday.
Damn.
He's not doing anything. I don't think he's doing anything with action. I think he's only doing drama, maybe.
Oh, did they kill off Smokey? Like, or was he just decided not to be in the Friday movies and they went with what was his name? Fucking Mike Epps instead.
I don't know.
That was Mike Epps, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Mike Epps started doing Friday movies with Ice Cube.
Let's see. Next Friday, Day.
Yeah, because he was Smokey in the first Friday, and then after Friday, next Friday came out, and it was fucking Mike Epps instead. But he wasn't. But it wasn't Smokey. It was Day.
Yeah, they might have.
I don't know. Friday's still a classic to me. Fucking better have Big Worm's money with his motherfucking perm. What's up, Big Perm? I mean, Big Worm.
Still Big Perm. I mean, Big Worm.
Uh,
That might have been why he didn't. But he also, after... So when did Next Friday come out? Because after Friday, he did Jackie Brown. He was definitely smoking weed in that. Yeah, so Next Friday was in 2000, so maybe that's whenever he stopped wanting to do it. All those roles and everything. That's crazy.
The things that shape cinema.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, they're starting to fly out. They did still get a bunch of gold, but not as nearly as much as they wanted. Tom Holland starts pulling gold out, and he's like, "I got this piece, and I got this piece, and I got this piece, and here's my favorite." And he pulls out a piece of bubble gum. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then Mark Wahlberg grabs it and throws it out the window. He's like, "Oh, come on, man, that's my last piece," which is like a throwback to the beginning of the movie. And then they're like, "Well, I mean, we could still come back for that, right?" And then he's like, "Now, if these guys have anything to do with it, it belongs to the Philippines now." Which, okay, hold on. So they traversed a lot of the world to get to, like, they were in Barcelona, and then they were, well, I guess it's not a lot of the world. Barcelona and the Philippines. They were in the Philippines to begin with to get this gold. Did it not already belong to the Philippines?
Right, yeah. Like, are they just going to take it and sell it and be like, because if it's in the water, that's international water, so, like, it could be anybody's. But it's they found it in a cave in the Philippines, so that is in the Philippines.
Right. I don't know. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. They get away with some gold. Then the credits roll, and we get a mid-credit scene, and something about Nazis.
It's Sam. He's in the prison. He's writing postcards to Nate.
Yeah. And that's it.
Sam is still alive. Yep, that's it. That's Uncharted in a record time of 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Yes.
Something like that.
Had a budget of
45 of those minutes were. Oh, I was talking about the podcast. I was about to say the 45 minutes of that were rambling, but.
Yes. Had a budget of $120 million, made $401 million. There will be a sequel. What did you think about Uncharted?
I give it about a 7.5. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm gonna be a little more harsh on it. I think I'm gonna give it like a 5.5, maybe even a 6, but I would say 5.5. Okay. It's a fucking action movie. Yeah. I don't really care about the adaptation because I've never played the games. It's a fucking action movie. I'm never gonna give them a high score. It's better than average. I would say, like, I don't know, movies like Lethal Weapon or Die Hard. Die Hard's the best action movie ever made, but it's going to be hard to really top that one. Because it's just a guy who doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's like, why do I have to do this? and then he does it. That's what I like about Die Hard. And he's doing it all barefoot, too. He's like, come on.
I was about to say, that scene in Die Hard, that's the one that stands out the most, where he's walking on the glass.
Yeah. So,
hey, mother clucker.
But, that's Uncharted. And we can go ahead and randomize this bad boy. I don't know if you saw that picture that I sent you of boner dogs.
Yeah, I saw it.
I tested. The first movie I got was a movie called So I tested the randomizer last night just to test it again, just to make sure we don't get something that we've already gotten. If we do, we were gonna re-roll anyway. But I got a movie called Boner Dogs, and it's an animated movie about dogs. I don't know why it's called Boner Dogs and why the cover has a dog with a boner on it, when the description of the movie is like snow dogs. It's like during the Iditarod, these group of dogs are trying to win the Iditarod to give their owner the prize money so he can pay off the Alaskan mafia or some shit. Why does this dog have a boner? Like, and why is the movie called Boner Dogs? I don't know. I don't understand. Do I want to watch it? Kind of. I want to find these answers out, but it's not the movie we're watching next. And we're about.
I just saw. So the pitch for Boner Dogs. All the dogs make fun of one dog. One of the dogs' big boner. They take a trip through a snowstorm but get lost. The tracks from the big boner dog help find their way home. Huh. I don't know if that's really, because it just said something about Adam Sandler and Kevin James. I don't.
Are they involved?
I cannot find IMDb at all.
How would we even watch this?
I have no idea. I think it probably got put on there by. Ew. It's a place in Effingham called Boner's Corn Dogs. I don't want any of that.
Of course it'd be in Effingham. Of course it's gonna be in Fuckingham, if anything.
Fuckingham, yeah.
Effingham is a place in Illinois, by the way. I'll clarify. Me and Joe are both from Illinois, and Effingham is a place. I don't even know if it's a town in Illinois, and
It's a city.
Yeah, it's a city, and apparently there's a place called Boner Corn Dogs.
I don't want anything to do with Boner Corn Dogs.
All right, you ready to roll this beautiful bean footage?
I'm ready.
All right, Jonesing for the randomizer, and a 3, a 2, a 1. Moon, which is a.
Oh.
Yeah. It's gotten some pretty good reviews. Sam Rockwell.
I was going to say, I've watched this years ago.
It's got Kevin Spacey in it. I do like Sam Rockwell a lot. So
I watched this, yeah.
This shit.
It's been years, but I was going through a Sam Rockwell phase where I was watching all of his movies. And I watched this one. I don't remember anything about it, but I do remember that I think I was like half asleep when I watched it. I remember the cover like vividly. Kevin Spacey is a voice. I don't think he's going to be actually seen, which is better, but it's still not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
We are going to watch Moon with Sam Rockwell, 2009. So that was Uncharted, and we're going to watch Moon next, and hopefully we'll get that out a lot sooner. But I'm excited to watch it as well. We can read the synopsis here before we go off the air. With only 3 weeks left in his 3-year contract, Sam Bell is getting anxious to finally return to Earth. He is the only occupant of a moon-based manufacturing facility, along with his computer and assistant, Gertie. When he has an accident, however, he wakens to find that he is not alone. Interesting.
So this is right up my alley. This is like our first sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it is.
I love sci-fi movies.
I mean, I like sci-fi to an extent. Like, I'm not a huge sci-fi guy. More horror and, like, drama. But, like, a lot of space exploration has a lot of, like, inherent drama to it. So I like, I've seen Apollo 13, big fan. And then I've seen, like, Armageddon. less of a fan. But yeah, like yeah.
It's a hard genre to get right because a lot of the times they come out looking stupid.
2001 A Space Odyssey. I like.
I still need to see that. Same with District 9 because it's like a mockumentary. It's a. I've heard good things about it. I haven't. I think I've seen like tidbits of it. It's a mockumentary that is like a social commentary as well about
Planet 51 with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Planet 51. Isn't that?
It's a cartoon.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay.
It's not sci-fi at all.
No.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
That's science fiction.
It's, I mean, yeah, technically.
Same with Ant Bully.
God damn. I forgot
God.
I forgot that existed. All right, well, we will be watching Moon next, and we will be getting out of here right now. And we appreciate you guys for watching it. If you guys are watching on stream, it will be on YouTube. If you missed it today, if you haven't missed it today and you were here the whole time, go ahead and I just smacked my microphone.
Go ahead and just
go fuck that mic.
beat the shit.
Yeah, that's what you need to do to the subscribe button on YouTube and the like button, and then comment some shit, say some stuff.
Yeah, hit that bell notification. So you
Yeah,
know
hit that. And make sure you hit that bell notification. See.
Ow. Ow.
But yeah, Uncharted. We're gonna watch Moon, and we love you guys. If you guys are watching and paying attention, watch all the old shit too, and comment on that shit and like it. And
yeah, even if it's hurtful comments.
Yeah, say mean shit. Be like,
yeah, make fun of us.
Yeah, be like, oh, you shaved. Now you look like, now your chin looks like a testicle. And I'll be like, yeah, fair enough.
So whatever, scrotum neck.
You got a scrotum on your face. That's actually just my face.
That's just my face. Oh.
All right, yeah. Sayonara.
Goodbye. Bye.